How Bishoftu could transform African aviation. Imagine an airport in Africa capable of handling 110 million passengers every year. An airport with 4 runways, hundreds of aircraft parking positions, and the potential to become one of the world's biggest aviation hubs. This isn't a project planned for some distant future. Construction has already begun. Ethiopia is building a new mega airport near Bishoftu, southeast of Addis Ababa. And the first phase is planned to handle up to 60 million passengers annually. But why does Ethiopia need an airport this enormous? Why not simply expand Bole International Airport? And what does this project reveal about Ethiopia's ambitions to become one of Africa's major aviation and logistics hubs? This is the story of Bishoftu International Airport, Ethiopia's aviation powerhouse. To understand why Ethiopia is building such a massive airport, we first need to understand the extraordinary growth of its national airline. Ethiopian Airlines has developed into one of Africa's most important aviation companies. Addis Ababa has become a major connecting point between Africa and the rest of the world. Passengers traveling from Africa to Europe, Asia, the Middle East, and the Americas frequently connect through Addis Ababa. That has turned Bole International Airport into far more than simply Ethiopia's main airport. It has become a major continental transit hub. But success has created a new problem: capacity. Bole's expanded capacity is approaching approximately 25 million passengers per year, according to Ethiopian government and airline officials. And Ethiopian Airlines continues to expand its network and fleet. In April 2026, the airline announced an additional order for 6 Boeing 787-9 Dreamliners, bringing its total firm orders for the type to 26 aircraft in that recent purchasing cycle. So Ethiopia faces a basic question: where will all those passengers go? The answer is Bishoftu. Where is the new airport? Bishoftu International Airport is being developed around 40 to 45 kilometers southeast of Addis Ababa, near the city of Bishoftu. The location is strategically important. It is close enough to Addis Ababa to function as the capital's major international aviation gateway, but far enough away to provide the enormous amount of land required for a completely new airport complex. And there is another interesting factor: elevation. Bishoftu sits at roughly 1,900 meters above sea level, lower than Addis Ababa's Bole Airport. That difference matters in aviation. At higher elevations, thinner air can affect aircraft takeoff performance. A low-altitude airport can potentially offer airlines greater flexibility in aircraft weight and payload, depending on the aircraft, temperature, runway, and operating conditions. So Bishoftu's location isn't simply about having enough land. Its geography could also provide operational advantages. How big will it be? Now let's talk about the numbers, because this is where Bishoftu becomes extraordinary. The airport's first phase is designed to handle approximately 60 million passengers per year, but the full master plan goes much further. The ultimate target is approximately 110 million passengers annually. To put that into perspective, that would be more than 4 times the current expanded annual capacity of Bole International Airport. And it would place Bishoftu among the world's largest planned airport hubs. The project is also expected to include 4 runways and aircraft parking capacity for approximately 270 aircraft. Reuters reports that the airport's design includes 4 runways and parking for 270 aircraft. The airport isn't being designed simply as a larger terminal. It is being conceived as an entire aviation ecosystem: passenger traffic, cargo, airline operations, logistics, trade, and potentially an airport city surrounding the core aviation infrastructure. Why not just expand Bole? One of the biggest questions surrounding this project is simple: why build another airport instead of expanding Bole? The answer is scale. Bole is surrounded by an expanding capital city. Adding more runways, terminals, aircraft parking areas, cargo facilities, roads, and other infrastructure becomes increasingly difficult when an airport is embedded within a densely developing urban area. Bishoftu provides something Bole cannot easily provide: room to grow. Instead of repeatedly adding capacity to an existing airport, Ethiopia is attempting to build a completely new aviation hub designed for decades of future expansion. Ethiopian Airlines has described the project as a response to growing passenger and cargo demand and as part of the airline's long-term strategy to develop Addis Ababa's wider aviation ecosystem. And importantly, Bole isn't simply disappearing. The strategy is effectively becoming a multi-airport system. The $12.5 billion question. But an airport of this scale comes with an enormous price tag. The current project estimate is approximately $12.5 billion US, and the financing is expected to involve multiple partners. Ethiopian Airlines is taking a major role in financing the project, while international lenders and financial institutions are also involved. The African Development Bank has committed $500 million toward the project and has been involved in efforts to mobilize additional financing. The financing structure is important because this isn't simply a government building project. The airport is intended to become a revenue-generating aviation hub. That means the central economic question is, can the airport generate enough passenger, cargo, and commercial activity to justify its enormous cost? That is one of the biggest risks surrounding any megaproject. When will it open? Construction officially began on the 10th of January, 2026, when Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed and Ethiopian Airlines officials marked the start of the project. The first phase is expected to be completed around 2030. That first stage is planned to provide capacity for approximately 60 million passengers annually. The larger 110 million passenger capacity is part of the airport's ultimate master plan and would be reached through later development. So the airport won't suddenly appear overnight. It is being developed in stages. That matters because Ethiopia's aviation market will need to grow alongside the infrastructure. More than an airport. Perhaps the most important part of the Bishoftu project isn't actually the passenger terminal. It's what happens around it. A major international airport can become a powerful economic engine. Think about everything required to support millions of travelers. Hotels, restaurants, transport companies, cargo warehouses, aircraft maintenance, fuel services, logistics companies, retail, tourism, conference facilities, and thousands of workers. The airport is therefore being presented not simply as an aviation project, but as part of Ethiopia's wider ambitions for trade, tourism, investment, and logistics. For Ethiopian Airlines, it could provide the physical infrastructure needed to continue expanding its network. For Ethiopia, it could strengthen the country's position as a gateway between Africa and the rest of the world. The cargo opportunity. Passenger traffic is only one part of the story. Cargo could be just as important. Ethiopia is a major producer of agricultural commodities, including coffee and flowers. A large aviation hub can help connect time-sensitive exports with markets around the world. The planned Bishoftu Airport is expected to develop substantial cargo handling capacity alongside passenger operations. CAPA lists an ultimate planned cargo capacity of approximately 3.7 million tons annually. That could transform the airport into a major logistics center. And that is particularly important for a landlocked country. Air transport cannot replace Ethiopia's major sea freight corridors. But it can handle high-value and time-sensitive goods where speed matters more than shipping cost. The big challenges. But mega projects always come with risks. The first is cost. The project's estimated price has increased from earlier figures as the scope and design have evolved. Reuters reported the current estimate at around $12.5 billion. The second is financing. A project of this size requires substantial long-term financing, and international lenders need confidence that future airport revenues will support the investment. The third is demand. Can Ethiopia actually generate 60 million passengers a year at the first stage, and eventually 110 million? Ethiopian Airlines expansion provides a strong argument for the project. But the airport's success will also depend on Africa's broader economic growth, international travel demand, tourism, trade, and the airline's continued competitiveness. And finally, there is the challenge of infrastructure surrounding the airport. A mega airport needs efficient roads, public transport, electricity, water, telecommunications, and logistics connections. Building the terminal is only part of the challenge. The airport must be connected to the economy around it. What does this mean for Africa? If Bishoftu succeeds, its significance could extend far beyond Ethiopia. Africa's aviation market is expected to grow as the continent's population, economies, and middle class expand. But the continent still faces major connectivity challenges. Many African travelers are forced to connect through hubs outside Africa when traveling between certain regions. Ethiopia's strategy is different. It wants Addis Ababa, and eventually Bishoftu, to become one of the major gateways connecting Africa to the world. That could strengthen Ethiopia's position in regional trade and tourism, while making Ethiopian Airlines even more influential in global aviation. But there is another side to the story. The bigger the project, the bigger the expectations. Bishoftu isn't merely being built to solve today's airport capacity problem. It is being built around a prediction about what African aviation will look like 10, 20, and 30 years from now. Ethiopia's Bishoftu International Airport is one of the most ambitious infrastructure projects currently under construction in Africa. A first phase designed for 60 million passengers, an ultimate master plan targeting 110 million. 4 runways, hundreds of aircraft parking positions, and an estimated price tag of around $12.5 billion. But the real question isn't simply, how big will the airport be? The bigger question is, can Ethiopia turn this enormous infrastructure investment into a global aviation and logistics hub? If Ethiopian Airlines continues expanding, if passenger and cargo demand keeps growing, and if the supporting infrastructure develops as planned, Bishoftu could fundamentally change Ethiopia's position in global aviation. But if demand, financing, or construction fails to keep pace with the ambition, the project could become a very expensive bet on Africa's future. For now, one thing is clear. Ethiopia is betting big on the future of African aviation, and construction has already begun. What do you think? Can Bishoftu become Africa's biggest and most important airport? Tell us in the comments.